so stoked. All right, Cody, what is up, dude?
Morning.
How's it going? Everything good your way?
Pretty good, yeah. I woke up a
Sweet.
couple hours ago, ate some breakfast, and came over to the practice space, and here we are.
Sick. Awesome, man. Thank you so much, first and foremost, for taking the time today. This is rad, man. I've been really excited to dig into these, especially with the whole comp thing and you guys, World I Hate, providing a brand new track. So sick, man. I'm so stoked to get that out, my man.
Hell
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
For sure. We're going to be digging into that a little bit further here, and just for those that may not know, or viewers, that I have on here, from the show that kind of, come back and check out different bands and, come in and discover new things. We wanted to, start out, earlier on here, as far as, yourself developing your own interests. And I know your father was a big influence and a drummer himself, correct? As far as, being
Yep.
involved in music too.
Yep, my dad was a drummer, played in like hair metal bands in Illinois, like the northern Chicago suburbs, like Crystal Lake and stuff like that. And he was in a band called Danger, and
Sick.
he got me on the drums when I was just a baby. Like I have pictures of me like 3 months old on a drum set. So
Okay. Nice. So, from these, the earlier point, even before playing music, those earlier influences, how did that go? What were some things that you were discovering early on, that really kind of sang a tune to your ear, if you will, and, had you digging into further, may it be a band or even the genre as far as heavier music or outside of that?
it was like as far back as I can remember being a kid, like maybe like 5 years old. I loved Smashing Pumpkins. It was like one of the first bands that I really connected with.
Sick.
Because I was born in '92, so like
Okay.
I remember it's like sitting on the condo steps with my mom and being like, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage, like just rocking out. So that, and then like as I got a little bit older, my like I got into Linkin Park. That was like one of my first like big loves, and then not afraid to admit that I love Limp Bizkit, so I got into that as a
Yes.
kid. And who else? Like my first CD was Kid Rock,
Okay.
so the American Badass. It had like the middle finger on the CD cover, so
Okay.
kind
I
of
remember
eclectic.
that.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay. I mean, so with that, and with like that disc art, were there certain things, going through like a local music shop, that a cover art popped out to you, and was the album as good as the artwork was, or how was it, as far as your influence on discovering new music at a young age?
At a young age, I don't remember going to really too many music shops, but
Okay.
like as I started to like be able to be more mobile, and like I moved up from Illinois to Wisconsin when I was like 8 years old, and then moved to Milwaukee area probably around like 12. So I remember like going to the record store around then, and I was a metalhead then, so I was like trying to get into, not 12, but maybe later on like Meshuggah and stuff, and
Oh, okay.
like seeing like cool metal art covers and stuff like that. And like a more recent account, it'd be like I was at this random like resale shop, and they had a small vinyl collection. I saw this art, and it just was like this plain white cover, and it said Drum Island, and I was like, this looks super cool. So I picked that up, and I played it on the record player immediately when I got home, and it was incredible. And I probably play
Drum
that album like
Island.
once a month now.
Damn, okay. Is it like
Yeah.
a drum circle type thing, or is it like a certain what genre is it?
It's like it's all instrumental, and it's kind of like bossa nova beats with just
Oh,
like ambience. It kind of like strikes the same kind of chord in me as like Boards of Canada would, if you're familiar with them.
huh. No, I don't think I know him.
It's like it's ambient, but with like just like nice drum beats. Sometimes they're bossa nova, just like cool like vocal samples here and there, stuff like that.
Sick. That rules. I love that. What about, so at a younger age and having different opportunities, like we kind of had the era where we had like Jackasses and we had Tony Hawk Pro Skater and skate videos and different things. Were any of these type of influences things that you discovered bands that you weren't aware of beforehand?
Definitely like Green Day, like early Green Day. Getting into
Okay,
like punk stuff, because I'm not like a punk head. Like I have so many friends that are like true punks, and like people that really love hardcore and punk and really come from that background. And I feel like I got a little bit skipped over until I turned like 16, 17. But
okay, yeah.
like discovering Green Day was huge for me. And when I moved to Kenosha when I was 8, there was a skate shop just down the street. So I was always down by the skate shop. I'm sure I got influenced by the music that they were playing there. I was buying like fart bombs and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It was like a card shop / skate shop. It's called All Pro.
Oh, okay. Dang. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
were you big into skating too, or did you ever get into like biking or anything like that, where there was certain music that you had to play when you were doing this stuff?
I loved skating as a kid. I was so bad at it, but I still tried.
Me too.
For the longest time. I was just like so bad, and I like built a couple ramps, and I would like jump off them, and it was a lot of fun. But
Uh-huh.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtrack, obviously huge influence all around. Just like Rancid, good punk music, shit like that.
Yeah.
But I had like maybe a Walkman like a few years later than that, but I don't remember being able to listen to music and skate at the same time as a young age.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got you. Yeah. I, for whatever reason, that always stumbles upon, topic when bringing up skating too, because it was like, I got more into BMX just because it felt like all of my buddies would just fall into it being so easy. And then I'd be trying the same stuff. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Because this is not clicking.
For sure.
So,
Shit's tough.
yeah, it's a lot harder than what everybody else made it seem. So
The best time to do it as a kid, so you can hurt yourself and recover quickly. We can't really do that anymore.
Yeah, right. What about live music? So, you have your interest in being able to discover, a live show. May it be something local or a big bill. How did that come to you?
So like my first live concert that I saw, or like a couple of them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I remember my first actual live concert that I remember is in like grade school, going to see a tour called The Taste of Chaos, and it was
oh yeah, okay.
I forget exactly who was on the tour. I think it was like The Used, Census Fail, Unearth played. I remember like hearing an early Unearth track and being like, this shit fucks.
Yeah.
And
right.
just like rocking out. And man, I think it was like the second year of Taste of Chaos, maybe somewhere between the first and third year. And then my first actual local like hardcore metal performance thing was it was a festival called Robot Mosh Fest. And
sheesh, okay.
It was fucking stacked. It was 2 days. It was like Tony Danza Tat Dance Extravaganza, Misery Signals, Arsonist Got All the Girls, Veil Maya, After the Burial,
oh
like
man,
Parkway Drive.
Was this in Wisconsin?
This was in Wisconsin, in like a roller rink in West Bend, Wisconsin.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that was sick.
2008, Robot Mosh Fest 08.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that
I'll send you the flyer
insane.
later. I think I have it somewhere.
Dang. Was this at a point where you were playing music, or was this before, where you were just kind of going to shows and still kind of discovering live music?
It was as I was just about to come into playing music. So I met, I was a freshman in high school, and I met like a dude who's a junior, and he was a guitarist. I was drumming, and we just started getting together, writing riffs and stuff. That never like formed out to be a band, but but I met a bunch of people through my friend Josh in high school, and it was pretty much just like live music and music related lifestyle from there.
Sure. Okay. So
Yeah.
was Arsonist Get All the Girls, was that the band that had like the machine gun breakdown? Am I thinking of something different?
Talking
Is
about
that
like
that band?
super fast? I don't think so.
Yeah.
They were really like synthy and weird. They got some. It might be them. I don't know. They were
I have
crazy.
not heard that name in so long. Oh my God. I mean, you're like mentioning Tony Danza. It's like, God, it doesn't seem like all that long ago that all these different bands were around. I guess Parkway Drive still do stuff, but so as far as from, oh no, yeah, somebody said War from a Harlot's Mouth. That's what it was. Yep, you're right. Um,
That's
so
Ben from World I Hate.
Oh, okay, sick. What's up,
Yeah.
man? So from these initial interests and kind of developing into like Green Day, and did you have different buddies? Were there different friends that kind of were introducing you to different? I know you've mentioned listening to like Muir and maybe even some
Yep.
more like I don't want to say new metal because that doesn't really relate to Muir, but how did that whole like
Kind of is.
metalcore like aspect of music? How did that end up getting introduced to you?
Through my friend Josh, who I met in high school when he was playing guitar, I was playing drums. He was showing me Misery
Oh, okay.
Signals. He was like, "You got to listen to Misery Signals. It's like the best fucking band
Oh
around."
man. Dang.
And then he was like, also Amir and all this stuff coming up, like Impending Doom. He was just showing me all that
Oh
stuff
yeah.
coming up. So it's like kind of a funny way to come up with that like beat down metal shit.
Yeah.
And I like and like I thought it like encapsulated me for a while, but looking back, like I still had other outside musical interests that weren't just like straight metal and
Mm,
stuff like
okay.
that.
Okay. What and
MySpace
what
days.
yeah, right.
There's so much good
What
music in MySpace.
what were other things that you had too, like if you're building up a top nine, like what were other bands, outside of those genres that you were regularly listening to and maybe even influencing, your playing when you started?
Yeah, definitely like around that time it was Panic at the Disco.
Oh yeah, okay.
They had just put out Pretty Odd, which is their second album, which like is kind of them ripping off the Beatles.
Man, I loved that album.
A
Absolutely
lot of
loved
people
that.
didn't
People
when it came
hated
out.
it. Oh man, I
Fuck
loved it.
them.
Yeah.
Senses Fail was a big one for
Okay.
me, and Silverstein, kind of like the
Oh
emo
yeah. Okay.
side. And there's an artist called Play Radio Play who was a big MySpace hit basically, and he got fucked
Mm.
over by his record label and canceled that band or like dissolved it, and then turned to do a band called Analog Rebellion, and he still to this day like remains one of my top three like songwriters of all time.
Wow. No kidding. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever listened to him.
not most people haven't, but yeah, Daniel Hunter is his name, and he did Play Radio Play and Analog Rebellion.
Oh wow. No kidding. Yeah. It was such a crazy time too, like with MySpace, where you would have different things and you would discover like. I feel like that might have even been the first time where like true underground music, was where I was discovering things of, I loved Deftones and I loved Slipknot and all these, but then all of a sudden, you'd have some like buddy promoting something. And it's like, whoa, what is this? I don't outside of like a local scene, you would have,
Yeah,
local shows and flyers, but then you see all these bands. It's like, oh, what record label are they on? And they're not on anything. It's just like a self promotion. Like it
for
was,
sure.
definitely like a really weird transition into seeing different things and kind of talking. There was a band I remember that are still around called Duck Duck Goose. You ever heard of them?
Okay.
They're out of California.
I don't know. I don't think so.
They did like a lot of running with like Heavy Lolo and Fear Before. But I just thought it was kind of cool that like talking to these guys and they're like doing all these shows. And it's like, whoa, they're not even local. Like I don't even know who these dudes are, but like getting in contact with them, like it was cool.
That's cool.
It was a
Yeah.
different opportunity for sure.
So I like
um,
the names of that time period too, like those band
yeah,
names.
yeah. Everything was so like weird and kooky and but I love that. I mean, I still, like anything that was just this out of the ordinary, odd, sound and just way too much in a lot of different categories. I loved it.
Experimental. Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's bands always got to push boundaries, and
Yeah.
I am for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So drums, you mentioned, at a young age, did you say that it was it a Slingerland that your dad had first gotten you? That was your first kit when you were coming up there?
Yep, that was my very first like true drum set. He had like a baby kit for me, very very young, and I don't remember what that. It might have been a Slingerland, but
Mm.
when I was like of age, I actually had like a full size Slingerland kit. Had
And
like,
what age was that?
I think he bought me that when I was like 13, maybe 12,
Oh, wow. No kidding.
and it had like oil-filled drum heads. The
Oh,
I think they're
dang.
called like the Evans Onyx, like the black oil-filled heads.
That's insane.
It's
Wow.
like heavy shit.
So from the, because he had played in bands and he had done different things, there wasn't ever any sort of like, did he have friends coming over that you saw like practicing at the house and kind of influences as far as guitar and keyboard or anything like that, or even vocal wise, to where, it might not have been something as early on as it was?
Well, like at a very early age, I do remember like him having band practices and stuff in the basement. But then after I moved to Wisconsin with my mom, I didn't get to see him too much. So like basically he like planted a seed, and I kind of just like it lit the fire
Oh,
in me
okay.
even as a kid. So I kind of from a distance like learned myself,
Sure, sure. Okay,
basically. So
okay.
like he was there, I got to see my dad maybe like once a month or so, and then we would like rock out. And when I was 10, he bought me my first guitar.
Oh, okay. Well, and what was
Like
that?
it was like a Cort
Okay.
CORT brand
Yep.
guitar with a Floyd Rose. I don't know why I wanted that. Or maybe I didn't want that. Maybe he just got. I think I did pick that out though. I'm pretty sure I picked it out. And
Okay.
and then a Marshall combo amp. I don't even remember what model it was.
Man, that's a tough first pickup, especially trying to mess with a Floyd Rose. Like, I can only imagine it's frustrating enough trying to get down a bar chord, much less trying to mess with that thing.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember learning like Green Day songs on the guitar, and
Okay.
not much
Yeah.
else.
Okay. All right. That rules. I love that. So now, as far as with your Slingerland kit, was that brought to a point to where you started playing with other friends, or you mentioned the one buddy in high school there playing guitar and kind of just jamming, or did something else come to where you started playing live with as far as a different drum kit?
So I'm pretty sure. I think I sold a Slingerland kit before I started playing any gigs, and I bought this. I should have kept the Slingerland kit, but I bought this like shitty Tama Rockstar kit, and
Okay.
it was like gunmetal gray and sounded like cardboard. But I beat the living crap out of that drum set, and first band I ever got to gig in with was in high school, and it was a band called Strike Me Down, which is it was my introduction to hardcore.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and we only played two shows. We played like some weird backyard where they had a semi trailer as the stage, and then
Dang.
we played Lions Town Hall, which is like in the middle of nowhere out here.
Okay.
But they used to have a bunch of hardcore shows there, so that band that band was around for like a year or more, but we dissolved pretty quick, and I was my introduction to playing shows basically.
Oh, okay, okay. Now with within Wisconsin area and obviously there's local scenes all over the place, but being outside, kind of detached from that, have you guys always had a bigger local scene, or has there always been a certain area, where people generally travel as far as there being like a bigger underground music scene at all?
So from that point on, from that last story on, if I can remember correctly, like there's always been different areas for shows at different
Okay,
points in time. So like it's kind of whatever like promoters can get. There used to be shows like a little
okay,
bit further north for a while, and then like further west out in like Whitewater, and like now it's kind of congregated in the city. And I feel like there's always been shows and stuff in the city, but
mm.
at the time of like the deathcore shit, when I was getting into that, it was always just like wherever we can book it, like a VFW hall. But
Okay,
yeah, I feel like it kind of rotated. They had a bunch of different spots at one point in time, and then they all started to slowly go away, and we kind of got pushed into a corner. And
okay,
then
yeah.
local hero JJ Kaiser and his family opened up their home, and they've been having house shows ever since. And that held the music scene over for a very long time until they could get a couple other venues
Then,
regularly
oh,
having
okay.
shows.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I think that's the same way with Michigan. Like that's where I'm from. You know, and like right now, Detroit kind of seems like it's the area, but there was a time that Grand Rapids, you know, was kind of a thing. Even like 80s and 90s, Kalamazoo was really big. Muskegon, you know, it's never really been like a general, like you
Yeah.
have California, or you have Boston, or the Florida, you know, kind of different areas where they've always had, you know, somewhat of a music scene. But that's always interested me too, just because, you know, it's like you kind of have to take what you can get, and if you have to travel a little bit to play, then it is what it is. This
Yeah.
is what we got.
You
With,
mentioned Kalamazoo.
Mhm.
Have you ever been to Kalamazoo Gazer Fest? I don't think they have it anymore, but
I know what it is. No, I have not. I know what it is though.
yeah, I
Is
missed the boat on that one, but I would have loved to go.
yeah, okay. It sounded sick. I don't know if that was like a returning thing that they had for a few years, but I do remember that going on, and that would have been awesome for sure. And especially, I mean, like for like a Shamewave thing, you know,
Right?
to be able to bring
Yeah.
that out there, that would have been sick. We'll touch
Yeah.
on that in a little bit, but um, so as far as we kind of touched on with your earlier kit and kind of bringing in and and playing different shows and whatnot. But as far as from earlier on, with your playing, what influences as far as when you started getting into like even with like something like World I Hate or the earlier band you were mentioning there, where with it kind of being a hardcore influence. What were the influences on you to start playing that, as opposed to some of the stuff when you're younger, with playing Black Sabbath and different things, learning drums, how did some of the influence come playing hardcore or beat down or metal?
Some of the like most prominent influences I remember being like Misery Signals, like I said, which is a little different melodic stuff, but Bury Your Dead was
Awesome.
Bury Your Dead was awesome when I
Oh,
was
okay.
coming of age, and trying to think. I feel like I like forget all of the prominent artists that I would listen to at the time, because I just
Okay.
like at one point in time I just like 180 switched and I just like listened to completely different music now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um I like Nirvana drumming is so like also hardcore drumming, just like Dave Grohl is just a slammer of the kit, and I feel like that influence has really uh, come over to my style and like how I play in World I Hate, stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay. Okay.
And I don't really know like a lot of the bands that World I Hate sounds like. Like all my band members love Think I Care, Mind Eraser, like
Yes. Okay.
um, who else did we cover? Forget there's a band we covered, but they give me direction kind of, and then I just take it from there when it comes to like drumming in World I Hate.
Oh, okay. Okay. And even with that, I mean, there's a lot of times too, even still today, we're going and writing something or playing something or, kind of digging into another different style. Like I always love hearing those things because especially if it's a band that I've never heard, I'm like, oh, I'll go in and, take a different listen, not only listening to the music, but then also the drumming and kind of configuration and fills and different things like that. Um,
Yeah,
it's funny you bring up Nirvana too, because something, I mean, obviously that band being as big as they are and Dave Grohl and such, there was a band, it was a show I was playing recently, and the drummer was just chomping on some gum, just beating this gum up while he's playing. And he gets off, and I'm like, hey, man, you did a great job. I appreciate it. I said, I love the gum chomping. He's like, well, I got it from Dave Grohl. Oh, yeah? Like, why? He's like, because your mouth gets so dry when you're playing. I don't know if this happens to you, but, when I play drums, especially live, my mouth gets so dry. When I'm chewing gum, it brings up the saliva, and I got that from Dave Grohl. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. I
Never
never
heard
thought of
that.
that.
Never even thought
Yeah,
of it before. But I've done it a couple times since. And I'm like, oh, he's onto something.
right on. Oh,
And watching him
you're
play too. He's always doing it.
you're a drummer?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Hell yeah,
I
that's
played.
awesome.
I played until just recently in Prison Suicide. Then we have another band that we're doing that we're going to be having something August 27th called Tunnel of Love. That's
Okay,
going to be this new track too. So we're going to have some stuff coming out and
sweet. I'll
stoked.
be on
Yeah,
the
I'm
lookout
excited.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and you mentioned the Slingerland too. One of the my first kit that I ever bought was a Ludwig. And you'd mentioned, I believe, did your dad have Ludwigs then too?
Yeah, my dad's probably about to give me his old Ludwig double bass kit with
Oh
like
man.
10 toms. I don't even have room for this shit.
That is awesome. I love
Yeah,
that. And even like, that Slingerland kit, like there is something, still with older drums like that for whatever reason. I've had a couple of fests that I've helped out my buddy with, that I've had 14 or 15 bands playing on my kit and haven't changed the heads or anything. And they still sound great, dude. It's
that's
so sick.
awesome.
Like I love it. And I'm so
What?
happy because I don't want to get it trashed.
Yeah. What heads are you playing?
They're Aquarian. I can't think of the exact exact ones right now. I'd have to look at them,
That's
but
what was on. That's what I put on my Slingerland after it came with the Onyx heads, or they might have been
oh,
Aquarians,
really?
but
Oh,
man,
okay,
I can't
okay.
find Aquarians around here really.
It's something you kind of have to. I feel like have to order online, especially that's
Probably.
something to even over here. Sticks, cymbals. If you're trying to find anything, Sweetwater has kind of been my go-to for a little
Yeah,
while with trying to find any sort of gear.
and they send you candy,
Yeah, right. Right.
and
What
then they
more can
call
you
you the
ask
next
for?
day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Like there's been other times where I've absolutely hated customer service like that, and it drives me nuts. But especially when it's something where I like go and set up, and they're like, "Hey, can I hear your cymbals? Like, how do they sound?" It's like, sure.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. That's sweet. Um, so
I'm a Remo head myself.
Okay, okay. Is
I'm a
there
Remo.
now? Have you, Evans, Remos, Aquaria? Is there a particular taste, or is it, maybe an influence on somebody that you've seen? Why do you stick with those?
I used to play Evans for the longest time, but I was playing like the clear Evans heads, and
Mm,
I got sick of them. I never really played the coated Evans heads, but I think the look of the Remo logo just like looks cooler to me, and I like
okay.
the coated Emperors. That's what I play.
Oh yeah. Okay. Nice. So,
Double ply.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Gives a nice warm tone to it, and especially with the drums too. That's sweet. Oh dang.
That's my.
Now, what kid is this?
This is a Tama Star Classic Bubinga.
Shoo. Oh, okay. Is this the big old honking floor tom? Is that kit?
Yeah, it's the 18-inch floor tom.
That's awesome. Dang. What symbols do you have on it right now?
Let's take a look. So I got the K hats,
Yeah.
15-inch.
Okay.
I got a Sabian AAX
Sweet.
Concept Crash, and I've been playing for a ride the AA Medium Crash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Sweet.
and
That
I
rules.
found a guy. I found a guy like 20 minutes from me that makes drumsticks, so I started buying drumsticks from him.
Man, you can't appreciate. I have a buddy who's a luthier, and he's been making guitars and different stuff. And I don't want to be so obvious, but I've been trying to kind of like, hey, man, if you made drumsticks, I'd buy them from you. I'm just saying. I don't want to, I don't want to make it too obvious here and pressure you, but that rules.
Yeah, it's
what
awesome.
what size do you generally go with, or if it were like comparative to a size?
So I play normally Vic Firth 5Bs, but
Oh,
when
okay.
I went to this dude's shop and he showed me and he made me a drumstick in front of my face with all the
Oh man.
CNC stuff, and I liked his 5As. His 5As felt like a Vic Firth 5B to me.
Oh, okay. Well, dang. And how long has he been doing it?
He said like 15 years or something like that.
Whoa. No kidding.
Um, the
Does he have
logo's
anything
really
on?
the logo's really funny. It's called XL drumsticks.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
sick. Does he sell them online or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. If you go to his website XL drumsticks or just Google that, it'll come up.
Dang. Okay. Nice. I love that. All right. So from there, you've kind of touched a little bit on like first shows and playing, with different buddies. What was that first show that you ended up playing? What band was it? And did it go okay? Did drums fall over? Anything roll away? How did that go?
I'm sure the kick drum flew further and further away from me at some point. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my first show was that semi trailer
Oh,
show,
okay.
like
Yep. Yep.
outside, like some sort of like little party or something, and we just played like five hardcore songs.
That's awesome. Have you ever had anything like drums rolling away or a cymbal falling over or anything catastrophic?
Always. Yeah, I mean, I've had so many, like floor tom legs just giving out, and yeah, the kick drum flying away, or like the cymbal stand just going like that, and the cymbals just knifing in you. And then
Yeah.
one time, one of my first, one of my old band's first shows, I stood up to play. You ever like see a drummer like stand up,
The old
like
Lars.
play
Yeah.
the old? Oh,
Yeah.
is that what Lars does?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm embarrassed now.
That's what I've always seen. I mean, and I've done it too, so I can't say any different.
Okay, but I sat back down and I missed my stool, or my stool fell back when I stood up, and then
Oh
I tried to sit back
no.
down, and I just went whoa. Yeah,
Oh no. Oh my
that was
God.
a
Yeah.
Halloween show too. I was dressed up as a Ghostbuster.
Oh no. That is sick. I love that. Speaking of Ghostbusters, World I Hate has is it Ringu? A Ringu t-shirt? That is so
Ringu?
sick. Yeah, I think so. The
Oh,
Ring?
is that from the Ring? Yeah, yeah. Ben made that. Yeah, the shirt
Oh man.
when it got
I missed
printed.
out on that thing, but that is tough.
Yeah, I don't know if we have any more. If we do, I'll just ship you one or something. But
I'll shoot a message to you guy for sure. I would buy one. That thing is awesome. And
the
then the
way it
caption
was
was go ahead, go ahead.
the way it was printed, the screens didn't totally line up, so it was super hard to tell what it was unless you were like at a certain distance.
Oh, okay. I was just laughing too because it said something like much like hardcore, the Japanese version's better, or something along those lines. I'm like, oh, that's sick. I love that. Or much like horror, the Japanese version's better or something. But yeah, that was sick. I love that.
Hell yeah.
So what about recording for the first time? Probably in a garage or a buddy's house or something, and being able to hold something physical that you actually played on. How did that come about?
So there's I guess I can split this up into two stories. So when I first started recording myself, my mom took me to Music Around Music Shop, and I met my friend Sahan for the first time, and he wasn't even working there. He was just always hanging out there, and I was like
Mhm.
talking to the employees. I was 14. I'm like, I'm looking to start recording myself, and Sahan was there, and he was like, you should get this 4-track like cassette recorder, this like Tascam 4-track. And I was like, all right. So I bought that and like a knockoff SM58 like vocal mic, and a couple cassettes, and I just started recording myself. And I would put like a microphone like right here in the drum set, and just
Okay.
record. I just record like cover songs.
Oh, okay. Dang.
Yeah, I was just that's how I learned how to record. I just like learn other people's songs and start recording covers. And then my mom's Impala had a tape deck, so I would record these songs on a 4-track, and I would like dub them down to 2-track, and then I'd put it in my mom's car, and I'd like listen to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And as far as the drums, you would have it just like you wouldn't have anything over top or anything. It would just be right in the center there.
When I was so young, I didn't have any money or access to anything. I had one microphone, so I would.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
I just had like the kit. They call it the kit mic because you put it in
Yeah.
between like everything. It's right in the center.
Okay. Okay. For whatever reason, I had a buddy that did a lot of like home recording for a long time, and he would just have the one microphone, but he would put it over top, and I mean, I guess it sounded okay, but I don't know. Maybe he caught on eventually and ended up doing that. I don't
Yeah, I
know,
mean,
but
either way would have probably turned out fine. The
right.
the overhead one is probably better, to be honest, just for like a total good room sound.
Yeah, but still, I mean, for being young and just taking on these things and having it be, like a first time and learning experience, like that's kind of the fun of it is looking back when you do know these things. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
what was I doing?
yeah. And then
How,
one of the earliest actual physical copies of a record that I recorded, I got to hold was, I think it was Kingmaker. It might have been their album called Less
okay.
Faith that I
Mhm.
recorded. I think that might have been the first one I got to hold. That was like a physical CD. Maybe
Oh,
some other
dang.
stuff too, but the first record I got to hold like vinyl was a Kingmaker release called Stay Asleep.
Okay. And now this was something that you had actually like produced, like recorded, right? You weren't playing on it?
I did play guitar for Kingmaker for a while, so I like on
Okay.
any of the releases, I think I did play a fair bit of stuff on all of that. So
Oh, sweet.
at some
Okay.
point I wasn't in the band, at some point I was in the band. I was always kind of like involved anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
All right. What about traveling out of state? or even doing like a small run or a tour experience, for that first time. What came along with that? Was it a lot of learning experience, or did it go over well?
My first tour experience was I had just broken up. We had just broken up this band called Deadweight in Wisconsin, and we always wanted to
Okay.
tour. We never did. We put out an album, and it's just like, this isn't going too far. We broke up, and I joined a band called Villains, who had just put out an album called 10 Code, and it was getting a lot of awesome responses. And our my first tour with them was with Counterparts, Structures, and Betrayal.
Holy shit! Wow.
So yeah, I just went from like playing like Wisconsin shows to just like jumping on this tour with like these people that I was so into Structures and Counterparts at the time. I was like, I'm so nervous these guys are going to be mean to me, like,
Whoa, yeah.
I'm just like a little fish in a huge pond, and but they were all so nice, and like to this day I still talk to some of those guys.
Wow, that's awesome.
Obviously a lot of learning lessons comes with touring, getting along, coexisting with people in a small environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And
this
I was
was
young.
all like a smaller van experience too. I would take it. I don't know, about what year, but I mean, Counterparts has been not, huge early on, but I mean, like they've been pretty much a big band, I guess, even since I've known the name. So that's solid.
Yeah,
That's
you
awesome.
got to give it up for their consistency. Like they've been a band for
Totally.
more than 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. What about a pre-show ritual? It's just even something as far as, kind of something centering yourself. If you do any sort of practicing, stretching before a show, what goes into that as far as getting ready for going out and playing?
Lately, it's nothing. I just do nothing.
Okay. Okay.
And then after I'm done playing, I feel like I just took like a month off my lifespan. But
Okay.
I used to do a lot of stretches, like the wrist stretches and stuff like that, which I should probably do now because immediately after this, we're doing a World I Hate practice.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
But yeah, I mean, I like to bend over, touch my toes, stuff like that.
Okay.
I should drink more water, but I don't have anything crazy. Beach Boys is what kind of brings me, like, that's like my center calmness. I just like listen to Beach Boys if I really need to like center myself.
Oh man, I love that. That rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite band of all time.
Oh, okay. I hate to be generic, but like Pet Sounds has always been that center for me. I don't know what it is compared to the other records, but yeah, I've always loved that record. And
Yeah,
then kind of
that record is
mentioning
insane.
Earlier, that Panic at the Disco record and them, ripping off Pet Sounds and Sergeant Pepper's and all this. Like, I think that was why I actually really drew to that album, because I was like, man, this is like a newer, kind of updated version. And yeah, I love that for sure. It was sick.
Yeah. It strikes the same like feeling in you, like Pretty Odd does, as like some of
Yeah.
those older records.
Yeah. I totally agree. I was kind of bummed actually that they didn't continue on, like some of the stuff that they have more recently. Even I listened to a little bit with my wife or whatnot, but
Ryan Ross is the guy who
yes.
wrote the first record and the second record and a lot of the third record too.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dipped out. He wasn't even part of the band for that third record.
Right.
And then he went off and did that album, The Young Veins. Have you heard that album?
Oh yeah, that's right. With Spencer, right? Initially,
I think
the drummer, I think, went with him. Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know if he left, but I think that was
did the album with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, are they still doing stuff?
No, that was just that one album. I don't even know, what is Ryan Ross up to. Somebody in the comments
might have to figure this out. Yeah. I need to look into this. Yeah, I mean, what? And you can think what you can, or what you do about that first record, whatever, it's fine. But like, the writing, and especially, I recently went to go see, oh my God, who was it? Pusha T, and there was like
nice.
a DJ set before that. It was like a female DJ. She had like an hour long, and she played a Panic at the Disco track, and like everybody went insane. Like a crowd of people that I was like, oh,
fuck yeah,
I
respect.
did not see this coming, but everybody's singing it. I'm like, wow, okay, so they kind of did their thing. As far as, kind of more recently, so digging into, Shamewave, which is, your thing initially, you started out writing yourself, correct? Just as far as kind of, jamming and getting something being your own creative thing. Were you involved with this before World I Hate, or did World I Hate come first?
As like compared to Shamewave?
Yeah.
Shamewave definitely, like, the idea came about first. I was, like I said, I was touring in Villains, and we toured for like 2.5 years, almost straight.
Oh,
And
okay.
I got a felony for weed.
Oh,
And so I had to quit the band, and I took like 3 years off. I started a HVAC apprenticeship, and that's when I started writing Shamewave songs.
oh,
But
really?
yeah,
Okay.
2015, I started writing Shamewave songs. And I didn't know, I didn't know
Okay.
what it was going to become. And I had just like, little bits and pieces of ideas coming together slowly. But World I Hate started in 2019.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. And me being a dummy, this is really funny that you mentioned the HVAC. I think you have on your profile like HVAC man, and so I'm thinking
HVAC guy, yeah.
this is a band.
Awesome.
I absolutely love that it's not, and oh
Did you
my
think it was a
god.
band up until this point right now?
Up until right now, yeah, absolutely. I absolutely was looking this up, and I'm like, there might be a page somewhere. There might be like maybe this is some sort of like maybe a comedy routine that he has, and no, you literally work on air conditioning,
I
and that's
I do heating and
that's
cooling for a living,
sick.
yeah.
Wow,
That's
I
awesome.
love it. Every once in a while, because I try, like with these interviews, I try to make it, to where it's not I'm just over spilling on, information, listening to every interview, because I like, things to be, genuine when I'm, speaking to the person or having the conversation, and not just being like, oh, I already knew this, can we embellish on such as,
Yeah.
but sometimes I get myself into some things where I'm like, that's not at all the case. I've had other times where I'm like, so you did such and such, and they're like, that was not
That
me. I don't
wasn't
know where
me.
you got that from. And like,
I love that.
the old internet, boy, oh
I
boy,
mean,
that's
it's people need to know it's okay to be wrong sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I appreciate that. But now, I mean, maybe if you have another band come out, you just call it HVAC
HVAC
man
guy.
or HVAC guy, and boom, there you go.
There we go. I'll do it.
Boy, what a dummy. Here I am. All right.
No, don't sweat it.
And so with the bands, if there was somebody, you're introducing someone to each of these bands here, what would be one track that you would tell them, as far as an introductory track that's a song that you love, and maybe to include a story about said song. Starting with Shamewave, what would be one song that you would say, hey, if you want to check these guys out, you should listen to this song, and why?
So, if you want to check out Shamewave and why, the song is called "Why," and
Okay.
it's on the Milwaukee Style comp,
Yep.
which you can find on any streaming service. It's
Hmm.
it's not directly under my discography on streaming, but you got to go to like appears on, and
Hmm.
on the Milwaukee Style comp, my song "Why" is like one of my most proud accomplishments. I wrote it and recorded it in like 4 hours, and
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, it just came out. Sometimes you just get lucky, and it just shit just comes out.
Happens.
And
Yeah.
I have like what I call a light switch studio, so I can just like basically come here and just like turn on my shit, and then I just start recording immediately. So
Oh, sick.
um
Wow.
and that one's gonna be on the full length album that I'm working on right now. So
Dang, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. And have you written uh a lot of material for it? Are you wanting to do, because I've been noticing lately that bands are not even necessarily lately, but you put out something that's like a 6 song, 7 song, but it's a full length LP. Is this something where you're wanting to do like 10 to 14 tracks, or how are you feeling out that,
yeah,
or
I
just how
probably
it
have
feels?
about like 14 tracks that I could put on it. I'll probably cut like two.
Oh, dang. Okay.
But instrumentally, it's all like demoed out. It's all written. I still need to write like lyrics and vocals and stuff. But
Okay.
I'm in the process of re-recording the demos.
Oh, okay. Dang, that's awesome.
And
Okay.
like the demos are like releasable. Like a lot of people would be like, you should just like put these out, but they're not like consistent with each other. And obviously, an album needs to be consistent. So
Yeah, have the cohesiveness with it. Okay,
just
sweet.
a little bit of glue.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. What about World I Hate? What would be one track that you would mention for that band?
There's, it's hard to mention one track. I think I'm gonna split it up and say like one,
Perfect.
Panopticon. People love
Okay.
Panopticon. I
Yeah.
love Panopticon. It's just like the energy and how it depends on what we play right before it, because like some songs go really well into it, and playing that live, like the energy is just like awesome, and then it goes into the blast part. That
Yeah.
shit just like is so fun. But like some of the newer tracks we're writing are awesome, and I think we're like starting to like push the boundaries a little bit. I keep, you know, pushing the guys a little bit further and be like, come on, let's do some like weirder stuff. But
Okay.
we got a song with like gravity blasts coming.
Oh wow. Okay.
But
All the way.
I want to touch on Safer in Jail, because I think that's the first song we
Yes.
wrote for the new record, and I think it kind of encapsulates what the record is gonna sound like. As a whole, it really captures like the vibe of the record, and
Awesome.
recording that one for your comp to tape was a lot of fun.
And I cannot say how much I appreciate that. You know, it's just so sick. I've been, you know, kind of slowly leaking, you know, what tracks are going to be on this, and today, you know, I wanted to touch on that. You know, first before even hearing the track, I see the title of it, and I'm like, whoa, this is hard. We're going in a direction here, and then
Yeah,
listening to the song, you know, like you mentioned, sounding like there's a little bit of, you know, like kind of like a wingspan opening, you know, kind of touching on different boundaries here, you know, within the band. Certainly heavy, but just taking on, you know, like a little bit of a different formation, I guess, you know, with this stuff. So, do you guys have a full length written? Is that or
just
recorded?
about. Yeah, we have a ton of demos, and we try to get together every Sunday, and we are fine tuning our songs now. So we probably have like four tracks that are completely, you know, laid out and done, and we have probably another 6 to 7 tracks that we're gonna go through and tighten up.
Oof, man. Yeah, that's
So
awesome. That's so sick. And once again, I'm so appreciative. You know, a for you guys, you know, being a part of this. In the coming weeks here, I'm going to be putting up. It's probably going to be a pre-order just because I have to get the all the tracks mastered, and then getting the cassettes and vinyl and all this stuff is somehow still backed up. Seems like
yeah,
that never ends.
what are you for the comp? What are you doing for physical copies?
I have a company. I'll have to look through. They're based out of Chicago,
Okay,
but they're doing the physical as far as the cassettes, the um, sleeves, everything. They're doing all through
cool.
there too. So,
So it's gonna
um,
be a cassette release.
yep,
Nice.
yep, yeah.
That'll be
I
cool.
was initially thinking about doing like a vinyl thing, but I think it's just going to be, as of right now, it's just going to be 100 cassettes. I'm going to do, you know, straight up like, is what it is. If you miss out, you know, all right, we'll have to figure out something a little bit later. But
Yeah,
I was going to do a Bandcamp thing, and there was a few bands that weren't all, you know, excited about it, and some of them, you know, with labels and different things, it wasn't really up to them. So I figured, hey, you know, we just have it, that one limited thing, and grab one if you can, and if you can't, you're
yeah,
probably going to sell out.
cool.
So yeah, no, it's sick. I'm excited. And initially, it was going to be vinyl or like a so yeah, it was initially going to be like a 12 inch, and just with how far back that stuff's pushed back, it's kind of silly. So I figure we'll
It's
do
tough.
do cassettes, and a lot of kids have fun with that. I've never been huge with cassettes. I've never been the biggest fan of it, but people love them, you know, and I'm all
Yeah,
about that. I'm not going to take that away from cats who love, you know, collecting them. So
yeah.
I'm stoked for it. Yeah, it's
The
gonna be
more
sweet.
time goes on, the more I'm into cassettes, and like I've been buying a lot of cassette gear and
Oh, really?
recording
Okay.
recording to them. Like that's what Safer in Jail was recorded to. Is recorded to a cassette.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's what you
Like
mentioned. It's so
I
sick.
have this Tascam 688.
Whoa.
It's a 8 track, and it takes the cassette, and it can record like normally to cassette you can only record 4 tracks, but this has like a special tape head, and it splits every track in
Sheesh.
half, and you can record 8 tracks to a cassette tape.
Oh dang, that's sick. It's one aspect of music I've always wished, and maybe in the coming years I need to get into, but recording and the audio, engineering to everything, and kind of the last touch I wanted to dig into this as far as did engineering producing, did that come into just as kind of a mode of working on your own stuff and not having to rely on others? How did that initially touch as far as you working in and starting to get studio equipment together?
That's basically it. Yeah, I wanted to record myself, and I just wanted to be self-sufficient, and right. I was like started off writing like shitty metal riffs and recording those. As time went on, I got rid of the 4-track original one that I started recording to, and I started recording digital, and I started
Okay.
recording bands for the first time in like 2009, I think, like 2010 maybe. And then just like using that money, like people paying me to record, I would use that money to buy more gear. And now I have so much gear.
Okay. What
And
was that first thing that maybe like you really started noticing, like, oh, I can make something out of this, from making those initial payments, or somebody coming in and working with you. What was that first piece of equipment to where it really kind of started moving things in the direction of, hey, I can keep on doing this and doing it better and better?
yeah, I mean, it was probably my first like interface that had like 8 inputs or something like that, where I could actually
Oh,
like be
okay.
like, okay, I can record like all these tracks. I can finally afford to get decent microphones, and that's pretty much it. There was a lot of online forums, a lot of people
Mm,
talking,
okay.
good advice, bad advice. You kind of got to like figure out, what cherry pick information. It was a slow process, like I feel like my mixes didn't get like pretty good until maybe the past like 4 years.
Okay. And did it teach you anything, from drum wise, as far as, all the years that you've had playing, um, and maybe a different direction, maybe something with tuning, what have you learned recording that has kind of developed over into your passion drumming?
Uh, Basically, like recording into a metronome for so long turned me into a metronome, and now I feel like I don't have to record any. I don't have
Okay.
to record to a metronome or anything like that. And I've been recording bands no metronome too, and just kind of like winging it.
Uh,
But also just like hitting consistently and keeping. I'm a rim shotter, so I just will like hit the snare like the same every time while trying to like keep it lighter on the cymbals, so you're not like smashing your cymbals and kind of doing like the cymbal swing kind of technique
okay.
a little
Yep.
bit here and there, but yeah, it's just all about like consistent drumming.
Okay. Sweet. That rules, man. I certainly appreciate that aspect. I appreciate you having your own thing with Shamewave and a couple other buddies too, right? It's developed into like a full band.
Yeah, so Shamewave is like for now it's me writing pretty much all the music, and then my best friend and roommate Nikki is like my partner in crime, and we're starting to do more stuff together. And Ben from World I Hate is also playing bass in Shamewave,
Oh, okay, okay,
and then
sweet. It
yeah,
rules.
it's and then Shamewave is all like my closest friends. My friend Matt Weinberger, who's like we've been playing music together for so long, and like I recorded one of his older bands, and then my friend Peter, who I was in that band Deadweight with, like it was like Tech Death. He joined, and it's just like it's good to be in a room with like people that I've known for so long.
Sweet. Okay. Did you guys recently do is it Elliott Smith? Like a
Yeah,
cover set or what? What was that?
2 nights ago. So Shamewave's original drummer Jacob,
Uh,
who's no longer in it, he plays piano now. So he played piano. Peter, our new guitarist, played bass, and then my friend Sahan, who's like producing the Shamewave album with me, he played drums, and we covered two Elliott Smith songs alongside 13 other performers, artists,
well,
and it was
so
just a
like a
night of
local.
all, yeah,
Dang, that's
yeah,
awesome. Wow.
local
Okay.
local show. Just like all the money went to suicide prevention Milwaukee.
Sick. Dang, that's awesome, man. That's so cool. Look, I fully really appreciate the time that you've taken today. I'm so stoked to be able to have World I Hate on the comp. I'm probably going to be doing something every year, as some sort of benefit for something else. This year was doing Every Woman's Place, which is a shelter for battered women and children. Wanted to do something, and generally I do something of a benefit, and probably going to be do something this next year, and hopefully get Shamewave, something involved with that
Please
and
do.
have that
Yeah.
on there because I absolutely love what you guys are doing, dude. So keep up the good work. Thank you so much, and I'll be in touch, man. I really
Yeah.
appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. You take care, Cody. Have a good
You
day.
too. You too. Bye.
See ya. I absolutely.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi, lo-fi, a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.